We are not members of the LGBTQ plus community. We approach this podcast as learners, not experts. Our intent is to educate ourselves and engage thoughtfully, not to exploit or speak on behalf of others. The opinions shared are our own and may not reflect everyone's experiences. We welcome feedback and invite correction so we can continue to grow and be better allies. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to First Time in Drag. I'm Kevin, and this is Dax, and we're here on Season 1, Episode 5, making some headway into the season. We're really getting into it.
Good progress, yeah.
Yeah, I am excited. This was a good one, too. This was an interesting episode, so I'm very curious what your take is on it as a whole. Anything you want to cover before we just jump in?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we get a little bit of everything that I'm personally interested in this episode. So kind of excited to jump into it. The title of the episode already had me intrigued, which is Drag School of Charm. And my first thought is like, this better be Harry Potter themed. Like, come on, right? School of Charm. We're definitely talking Harry Potter here. Spoilers, we're not talking Harry Potter. I was a little disappointed, but good stuff came to follow it. So I was... It sucked me back in.
Yeah, I thought this one might particularly resonate with you, given the topic. So let's just jump in.
Yep.
All right. Runway theme, episode theme, all of it, Drag School of Charm today. Very exciting episode. We start out with a pretty interesting little intro because we're coming in off of episode 4, right? Where Jade was just eliminated over Rebecca, which I think you and I both agreed was a very interesting decision at best. I felt like I had to jump through hoops. Yeah.
It was bullshit. It was some bullshit. It was some bullshit. It was a bullshit decision. But everyone in this intro seemed to agree. So...
Yeah, we jump in and like all the queens, we kind of cut to the queens walking into the workroom and they're all just chatting about how crazy it is that there's not very many of them left and like all the numbers get low. Then we cut almost like within just a minute or so, we cut to a talking head of Chanel. And the first thing Chanel says is Rebecca deserved to go home.
Straight up. I almost started clapping. Like, thank God someone else sees this.
Yeah. Chanel was clearly not happy. And you can kind of see it through the whole episode. I think Chanel has a bit of a just bad taste in her mouth about Rebecca still being here. And it kind of comes out as she talks about Rebecca through the challenge.
But it wasn't just Chanel, man. I think they cut to almost every queen saying something about how Jade shouldn't have gone home and how they feel like Rebecca's like hiding something a little bit backstabby. And then just like clockwork, they cut to Rebecca talking about how she thinks she deserves to be here. So, it was very obvious, the sentiment of the group, maybe even the sentiment of some of the editors. But, maybe it is what it is. And I think we find out some more stuff throughout this episode.
Yeah, definitely. Very intriguing as you kind of see all of the queens a little taken aback at that decision, which I think is fair. Just looking at resume and everything that's happened so far, it was a shocker to see Jade go home and Rebecca stay. I do think Rebecca is catching a lot of flack for treating this like a competition show. Especially if you go back and look at like the competition shows at the time, Survivor was big, Big Brother was big, the America's Next Top Model was big, and all of them are kind of at the end of the day, we are playing a game and only one of us can win. And Rebecca appears to be taking a bit of the keep your cards close to your chest, don't really help anybody else, don't really expect any help from anybody. Like, I'm playing this game for me, and if I get the opportunity to fuck on you and send you home, I'm probably going to take it, right?
I mean, yeah, that's cool, but also Rebecca's shown that she has like 2 little cards close to her chest. It's not a very wide range. In fact, those 2 cards are in the same fucking suit. So like, what cards are we really keeping close to our chest here? At the end of the day, I think when we, like you said, when we look at resume, when we look at performance overall, like Rebecca really doesn't have much to offer over Jade or over any of these other queens. So very confused as to why she's still here.
Yeah, very true. And Jade also kind of demonstrated to be a bit more professional throughout a lot of the earlier challenges,
Mm-hmm.
especially when things weren't particularly going her way. So yeah, I definitely agree. She is kind of hiding behind two little cards. One of them is my makeup sometimes looks good, and the other one is my clothes sometimes look good. And like that's all she's really got
That's
going
about it.
for
Yeah. Yep. I look like more of a woman than anyone else up here. Is about all she's got going.
Now that Jade went home.
Yeah. Now that Jade's gone.
Yeah, now
Yes.
that Jade's gone home. Yeah.
Before that card was Jade's. You're right.
Absolutely.
So she added a third card. She's now got 3 little cards.
Yeah, now that Jade went home, she just took that card from Jade's deck, for sure.
Crazy.
Yeah, so all of us, including apparently the queens on the show, pretty disappointed by that decision. Curious as to why it was made and kind of how it's going to play out moving forward. But we go directly from the queens talking about that into a pretty quick intro and mini challenge. We get the she-mail as usual. And then Rue comes out and introduces the girls to a bunch of women fighters. Now, let me go ahead. So the mini challenge is an exercise and endurance challenge. You can kind of see it's hard. Again, it's hard to get images for this, but I did find a couple. You can kind of see these girls come in, and they are all, I believe, professional or at least semi-pro, or some level of long-term fighter in various different martial arts. And they are they're very mask presenting. We'll say it that way, right? They're all very
they're just masculine. They're just masculine women.
They're not
what is
some
of them are
anything.
Yeah, some of them are that way on purpose. Some of them are just that way because they work out all the time. Like these are masculine women.
Yeah, and the goal of this mini challenge is to have these women train the drag queens in various fighting techniques and exercises, right? Kind of going back to the name of the challenge, exercise and endurance, just to kind of see what the queens can do. And yeah, to your point, you've kind of been talking about this. There's a lot of athleticism involved in drag and drag performance, and we really see that kind of shine through in this episode. We really kind of lean into that. And I would be very curious to see how Akasha performed if she was still here for this episode.
Honestly, I think this type of episode really plays well to queens like Akasha and Jade, and like these queens that are just really, really fit and really, really athletic. Overall, would have loved to have seen both of those queens be able to perform in this challenge. But this was a really interesting challenge, especially seeing as we have a team of all women, very masculine presenting, if you want to say women, with training a group of men, right, that like to present themselves as women, right? Very, very feminine presenting men. So like the dichotomy, bro, it was great. It was really, really cool. I think it was a smart challenge. Also, not a single one of these dudes has ever thrown a punch or a kick in their lives. Not a single time.
Hilarious. I wrote that down as a note. Not a one of them could throw a punch to save their life. Like,
nope.
Just the weakest punches I think I've ever seen. It was wild. I think this episode, I'm not being particularly deep here. It's blatantly obvious, right? The purpose of this episode is to demonstrate things like that and kind of show that weird sort of arbitrary distinction we draw between what we consider masculine versus feminine, where we have a bunch of women who exhibit a bunch of masculine traits, and we have a bunch of men who exhibit a bunch of feminine traits. And it's like, there's I think an exploration there of the dichotomies that we draw between these things and like how they kind of overlap with each other. And it was very, very fun to watch these queens get out there and try to punch and kick and like just deal with any of it from a fighter mentality versus the like theater, stage, and performance mentality they've had this whole time.
Yeah, definitely the toughest workout any of these queens have seen in a very, very long time. Just to kind of like get into it. they kind of first go through a bit of a training session where they're asked to like punch and kick bags, as
Hmm.
well as like what's demonstrated on the screen here, which is like a ground and pound. If anyone is familiar with that, if you've lived the past, I don't know, decade, you've probably seen a UFC fight and have an idea of what ground and pound is. But look, she's punching a bag on the ground. There you go.
Hmm.
Coined it for you. So like they're going through these exercises. Getting hot and heavy, also letting loose a little bit, which was kind of nice to see. Lots of smiles and laughs. And then Chanel, who I'm super surprised at because like Chanel is I guess has shows in Vegas, right?
Yeah, like
Which would
a
mean
performer in
probably,
Vegas.
yeah, probably dancing a lot, doing lots of physical activity. Like the moment gets to her, anxiety a little bit, starts getting dizzy, can't really finish the warm up portion of this challenge and has to like go sit
Hmm.
down for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, ask for a break and needs to go lay down. I think Rue gets her a towel. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was also kind of surprised to see this. The editing keeps that whole segment relatively short, so we don't know exactly how long Chanel was like not involved with the exercise, if that was maybe just a couple of minutes while they were setting things up or taking a break for another reason, or if she sat out for a significant portion. It's not really demonstrated, but it was interesting to see. She's the only one that gets highlighted for being like, hey, I can't keep going. I need to slow down.
Yep.
Like I'm getting too worked up or tired or whatever.
Yeah, pushing a little too hard, a little too soon. Didn't break the first win and get into the second win, just all gas. And
Mm-hmm.
got gassed out there and panicked a little bit, right? But she
Yeah.
came back. She came back for it. So, like, I guess this challenge was kind of split into two, right? Because it
Yeah, there
was
was like
like,
a warm up phase. Yeah. And then
mhm.
like the actual challenge phase, which was an endurance challenge.
Yeah, a little just endless. Whoever can stay in the longest wins challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the bags 1 2, just 1 2 1 2, and basically up downs, right? If you know anything about football or burpee, if you know anything about gym culture, basically
Mm-hmm.
just hitting 1 2s until someone calls down. You're down to your chest, you're back up from the floor, and hitting more 1 2s on that bag, just constant until you fall out.
Yep.
And basically the last queen standing wins, and was really really fun to watch for me. I mean, I sit around and watch CrossFit competitions, right? So I'm watching people
Yeah.
work out for fun anyway, and this was freaking awesome. It was one of the most enjoyable RuPaul Drag Race experiences for me to date. And surprisingly, dude, after late. Maybe it was because of the rest. Maybe she had time to like collect herself, get her second win. But it came down
Mhm.
to Chanel and Rebecca, right?
Rebecca.
Chanel and Rebecca for a really really
Yeah.
long time. Just those two kind of duking it out.
Yeah, they stuck it out. I think we see BB back down first, which was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting that. I think it's like BB, then Angina, then Nina. But they all kind of fall relatively quickly. And then, yeah, we're left with just Chanel and Rebecca going at it. And
Battle
like
of
Rebecca, I
Wales.
think is, yeah, yeah. I think Rebecca's the youngest queen up there by a bit of a ways, I think, by a good couple of years. She's like early 20s. So I think she had a bit of an advantage to that point. But like none of the queens are particularly old. They're all like in their
They're all pretty
20s,
young.
late 20s, maybe early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think it made a huge difference, but you see like some determination between both of them. Maybe it's because Chanel was like, fuck Rebecca, I'm not letting her win shit there. Maybe it's
Probably.
because she had that break, yeah.
Probably a
But
little
yeah, it
bit.
was
Probably a little
very
bit of
fun.
both. I mean, Chanel, I was surprised when Chanel fell out because I think Chanel is one of the fitter queens up there. One of the queens that probably actually goes to the gym relatively regularly. But I'm
Yeah.
not surprised that Rebecca, I mean, I believe Rebecca and Jade's abs have been called out multiple times. So,
Yeah, yeah.
not surprised
They're
that
both like
Rebecca ended up
lean
winning
in shape.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, agree. Rebecca does hold out longer than Chanel. Chanel goes until she just lays out on the floor, like just falls down. And Rebecca wins. You can tell they're both completely gassed and like winded at this point. So good on them for that. Like, I've done up downs or burpees before. I hate them. Doing any kind of challenge like this would be horrible. I would have been like BB, and I'd be like, all right, I'm done. I'm out.
You know what? I don't need it that bad. I don't need it that
I
bad.
know. I'm good. I'll deal with whatever the thing is. And actually, it turns out the victor of this challenge gets a pretty bomb benefit for the maxi challenge. So Rebecca does end up winning, and her reward for winning is getting to assign the partners for the maxi challenge. And the maxi challenge, for anybody who's a Drag Race fan, probably knows what's coming, is a makeover challenge. So after all of this, after the fighting, after all the queens are gassed, Rue lets everybody know that each queen is going to be paired up with one of these fighters, and they will then have to make over that fighter to be, I wrote it down, he said, a real life female version of yourself, of your persona. So I'm clarifying that for Drag Race fans. They kind of know this is usually referred to as like the family resemblance challenge, where you're supposed to be making like the person resemble a member of your family, like a sister. It can be mother, daughter, it can be cousins, whatever. It just needs to be clear that they're part of your family. Where in this one, Rue kind of specifies turn this person into you, like make this person like a female version of you, which I thought was interesting.
So this is an early version of something that sticks around for a long time, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a theme, and they are great. This is one of my favorite types of episodes in this series because they always bring people. Well, I say always, they bring a variety of people. Sometimes it is people who maybe lean toward being a drag performer, like they're in theater or something like that. Other times it's like all of the contestants' fathers.
Oh,
Like
wow.
things like that.
God.
Yeah, like there's a former like Marine sergeant in one episode or something like that that gets fully made over. Like
that's crazy.
Is great. Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's great.
I'm not saying I would never, but like it would take some convincing.
Yeah, hey, if this series pops off a lot, there might be some pressure for us to do drag. So just go ahead and get
slow down there. Listen, I'm just learning. I'm just talking about it. We're not there yet.
We don't have any viewers, so don't worry. No, there's no one to pressure us.
2 or 3 viewers and my mom. I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that. So I love this episode and this concept of an episode as a whole because it does do a lot to kind of demonstrate what the drag queens have to go through to get their performance ready. And it kind of sheds a big part of, I think this whole show is really great because it gives insight into people and to their feelings around this topic and things like this. And it's always interesting to see people from different walks of life come in and interact with drag queens and kind of see what they go through. And this episode is a prime example of that, as we have a bunch of women who very mask presenting, like not familiar with makeup. I think one of them mentions she's never worn heels before. One of them mentions she's never worn a bra before. So there's like there's a lot of new stuff for these girls, and seeing somebody who's trained to be a fighter and like knowing how much goes into that and how difficult that training is and how much you have to push through stuff that sucks. And then see them come out and be like, damn, this shit is hard. I don't even know if I could do this, was very interesting.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that, like, at first I heard this challenge, I was like, this is interesting that I get it, we're in 2008, right? But having men tell women how to be feminine is really strange to me. But then there were like some really touching moments of these women who have never sought a feminine look or accessory or anything like that in their lives, really getting to kind of express themselves in that way for the first time or one of the first times, which was kind of touching, as well as like, listen, I don't know anything about drag. I don't know anything about fashion. I don't know anything about walking down a runway. Okay. Don't know shit about that. Okay. I've been on stage. Yes, I was a musical theater major, but you asked me to walk down a runway, I would look probably like a big old gorilla. So yes,
like Shrek walking down that runway.
Exactly. head nod and everything. Just happy as hell. But listen, I don't think I've given enough credit so far throughout this series as to how difficult it is to look good and portray yourself um, walking down that runway. And it is very evident as I watch these people who have never walked in heels before, never tried to assume a gait that like reads feminine. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like really, really struggle with this, really struggle with it. And I didn't get up and try. Okay. Like I said, not there yet. However, I do recognize now how difficult this is because these are very athletic women, and
Yeah.
athletes are very aware of their body in order
Mm-hmm.
to do what they do. So for them to have difficulty pulling off some of this stuff means that it's hard, man. This stuff is difficult. So I have to give it more credence in the future, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big that's a big thing in this. And like anybody who's been a fighter, anyone who's been in sports at any moderately serious level has probably heard the recommendation that they should also explore dance. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of interesting, right? Where you're like, especially as a football player, as like a a young man growing up in Texas to be told, hey, you should really look into taking some dance classes. And you're like, why the fuck would I do that? Like that doesn't seem like it would help. But I think this episode is a prime example of how, you know, just like you said, as an athlete, you need to be very in tune with your body and in control of
Mm-hmm.
your body. And that is what dance is. Dance is just very detailed, specific control of what you're doing with your body. And this is kind of a great example of that, where like you would think these women who obviously train, they probably have long training segments. That endurance is a big part of fighting. So they do endurance training, they do strength training, they do balance, all kinds of stuff, because you need all of that to be a good fighter, right? And then to see them get put on a runway and told to walk and have them just fall apart, I think is
Yes.
very eye opening.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. The dance thing is great and it's great for agility, body awareness,
Mm-hmm.
flexibility, balance. All of those things absolutely can be essential to an athlete. And you're right. Like these women put on heels and couldn't even walk, much less walk gracefully.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun to watch for sure. We kind of jump into after the challenge gets laid out for everybody. We kind of got ahead and we jumped into the queens, prepping their fighters and everything. But I want to talk a little bit about Rebecca's choices, because she won the mini challenge, right? And she comes out and gets to choose who to pair these queens up with. And this kind of goes back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the episode. Rebecca's choices are very much game moves.
Oh
She is
yeah.
not trying to help anybody out. She kind of almost directly pairs everybody with their opposite, which
Yes.
is very funny. We knew, like, I was kind of expecting this take. As I mentioned before, I kind of identified Rebecca as a competitor. So, like, I almost knew she was going to find one of the lightest complexion girls and pair her up with BB, so she would have a hard time doing her makeup. She
Yep.
So let me just run through the pairings. I don't have great images all on like one slide, but we'll kind of see them as we go through more stuff. But BB Zahara Benet gets paired with Michelle, who's actually visible here. It's the girl just to Rue's right in the like black and greenish brown kind of top. So very different, right? This is like a shorter, lighter skinned girl paired with BB, who's a very tall, thin African woman, right? Man, woman. Next,
But
we have
really,
Chanel. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
sorry. I agree with what you're saying, but also like from the same part of the world, right? Um, by
True,
looks.
similar. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, gamey for sure, but honestly, I think it played in BB's favor. So we'll get into that.
There was definitely an avenue for BB to kind of take that and expand on it, and we'll see, as we get through this episode, whether or not she capitalizes on that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, we have BB paired with Chanel, or BB paired with Michelle. Then next we have Chanel is paired with Sweet Pea. Now, Sweet Pea is the woman depicted in the image on the right who is doing the ground and pound demonstration. And Sweet Pea, to me, is the most masculine woman up here by a long shot.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
just
so
her frame is super boxy. She's got these big
mhm,
dome shoulders. She's
mhm.
absolutely just
Shaved head, tatted
dominating
up.
masculinity. Yeah,
Yeah,
tatted up, shaved head, just very masculine.
yeah, and I think Chanel was probably one of the strongest partners you could get here as one of these fighter girls to
Hmm.
be made over. Because as we've seen, Chanel can do other people's makeup really well. Chanel has a fantastic eye for fashion, kind of clothing. And Chanel, I think, is really good at just the overall, like, sort of regal feminine presence.
Agreed.
So I thought this was a very interesting pairing because it was almost exact opposites here. Of course, Chanel again is working with a different complexion on makeup, having to kind of work in a different style and take Sweepy, who I think is the one who mentions in the workroom that she's never worn a bra before, and
That's the
like
one.
teach her how to find a bra that fits, like find one that's comfortable and find one that makes her look good, which is, as you kind of said before, it is very interesting to see like a man explaining this to a woman who's just completely oblivious to everything.
Yeah, it was a weird feeling, but also like heartwarming at the same time. Like, come here,
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you. It's cool. We're from two completely different communities, right? But
Hmm.
we're going to put these things together and work with each other. Love that.
Yeah. And I'm going to make you feel better about yourself in the process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that was
Which
what I
is
think that's what's so
fantastic.
heartwarming. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can tell this is stuff you know as well as I do. You know, we only see it from the outside, but women are constantly pressured in their life and by society
absolutely.
to like
Mm,
fit into a role, right? Both genders are. We know very much that women are pressured to wear makeup, to look pretty, like all of these things. And I imagine this is something that's probably weighed on all of these women in their life. And getting this opportunity to come here and do this was probably exciting for them. At least it seemed to be exciting for them. They were all pretty excited about it in the show.
scared, but or apprehensive, I should say, but
Apprehensive, yeah.
excited nonetheless.
Yeah. Speaking of excited, the next pairing we have is Miss Nina Flowers, very short, lovable Nina Flowers, paired with Mia, who is the the woman on the RuPaul's left here, who is just about as tall as RuPaul, and RuPaul is a tall person, like just
Yeah, like
tall in
6'4",
general.
right? Six
Yeah.
six three, six
So
four. Yeah.
Mia's standing tall and she is not in heels. That is Mia in some like gym shoes. Like
Yep.
Mia's a
Wrestling
tall
shoes.
girl. And I wrote on her thing because when they all introduce themselves at the beginning of the episode and Mia comes out and goes, I'm Mia, am boxer.
Yeah,
Like,
I love that, man. I love that. But honestly,
like,
she looks like Nina. She looks like Nina, straight up. Like they could be sisters,
like in
cousins.
the face and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Both
yeah,
have
yeah.
that kind of lean sort of, like chiseled face, I would say, like very defined features, right?
I
Cheekbones,
honestly,
jawbones.
yeah, I thought Nina was Slavic when I first, and I think through like 4 episodes or 3 episodes, I thought Nina was Slavic until I learned that they were like Latin American or Puerto
Yeah.
Rican of some sort. So yeah, like crazy, crazy to me because they look so similar.
Yeah, they do. But there's just like a huge height difference. And I think I have some images that will better demonstrate it later, but it is almost comical how much taller Mia is than Nina. And Mia, who English I think is a second language, so like I'm absolutely not trying to make fun of her for struggling through English. I just thought it was a particularly funny way to introduce herself in this like, look at these masculine women, and she's like, I'm Mia, I'm
And
boxer.
boxer.
Yeah, like
It's like, damn, she knows 4 words. This is going to be difficult.
yeah. But she genuinely turns out to be one of the sweetest girls. Like she is so
Absolutely.
excited through the workroom, through finding out everything. Um,
I think she even
we're,
says like I enjoy like dressing up and being feminine like this. So
yeah,
Like she was ready. She was ready to peel off the gym clothes and get pretty.
Yeah, she was here for it. I'm going to keep moving through the pairings because there's so many things I want to talk about just through the workroom and kind of everything that happens. So Nina gets paired with Mia, who it ends up being a relatively good pairing, I think. Rebecca pairs herself with Temple. Now, Temple is another African American woman who is not depicted in these images. You'll see her a little bit later. Also, pretty mask presenting, but not particularly masculine, right? Like you tell
No,
from 40, 50 feet away that Temple was a woman, whereas.
definitely. She has like these blue braids. She's got braided hair.
Mhm,
She's
mhm.
longer braided hair. I think maybe I'm misremembering, but I think she maybe even had nails on. So like was already one of the more feminine of these mask presenting females.
Yeah, yeah.
Good
Taking
play.
all of that with a grain of salt. But yeah, I think it was a good choice for her. It's interesting to see them work together through the whole. I think even one of the queens calls it out, but through the whole workroom and kind of prepping everything, Rebecca takes a very mommy dearest approach to how to like teach Temple what to do, and is just blunt and mean like the entire time. uh, I thought interesting because I think anybody who's ever worked with a coach might understand that type of like motivation and working with people. Like I had a football coach that was very similar to that, where it's just like you can never do anything right. Like you always suck. They're always yelling at you, and there's maybe a value to that. Maybe this, maybe Temple's kind of used to that, being a fighter who has a trainer or something that does a kind of similar approach. But it looked mean to me, to be honest.
It's it's honestly a bad and outdated coaching technique at the end of the
Yeah.
day. I think that there are places to be stern and even feel mean, right?
Hmm.
But in this scenario where you're teaching somebody something, not exactly the place for it. You really want to take the method where you reinforce the good things and try to tweak the bad things. And there was not a single like point of admiration or reinforcement coming out of Rebecca's mouth.
Not a
It was
one.
it was always you better do it my way. It's got to be better. It's like
Don't suck. Like,
how am I supposed to do something better when you're not telling me the good things I'm doing and the bad things I'm doing? You're just telling me
yeah.
everything is bad. So I have nothing to build upon, right? When you don't supply
Hmm.
them the good things, they have nothing to build upon. Keep this way, change that. So it was just I'm really surprised that there was any type of output. And honestly, when we get into it, I'm probably going to say that there was zero output
Hmm.
because I just there was no actual coaching.
Yeah, it was definitely an approach. We'll definitely get into that more as we talk deeper into what goes on through the workroom. But just to wrap it up, our final pairing here is Angina and Jarrett. And Jarrett is this lovely blonde woman on the far left of the left photo, about the same height as Michelle. But also, I think a relatively good pairing. This actually kind of sucks for Jarrett because we've seen that Angina is not great at doing other people's makeup.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or
And
hair.
or hair, especially hair, right? And we know that Angina in general, throughout like the entire competition, has played very much with androgyny, not
Mm-hmm.
particularly feminine looks once, really, right? I think the girl group challenge is the first and last time we see Angina do anything that reads like specifically feminine.
The what was it? The Oprah challenge. She at
Queens of
least
All
put on some
Media
hair.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. She did that for that as well. Yeah. China, I guess, does demonstrate versatility, but does kind of clearly lean androgynous,
Oh,
maybe
absolutely.
even a little bit on the masculine side of everything that she does.
Yeah, anytime she gets a chance, she's going that way. She has shown flexibility in a challenge that requires
Hmm.
it, but will absolutely go the more masculine or androgynous route when given the opportunity.
Yeah, so I was a little bit sad for Jarrett. I think had Jarrett been paired up with someone else, maybe Chanel or something, she really would have got to lean into that femininity a little bit more than I think Angina gave room for her. And to be fair, through the workroom, we don't see a ton of Angina and Jarrett. We just see a little bit of what's going on with them. That's likely because of some of the drama and everything else that's going on. But yeah, we just don't see a lot of them.
That's my exact note is wish I saw more. I think we
Yeah.
get like one, maybe 1.5 clips because they're in the background somewhere doing something.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's not fair in my opinion. I really wanted to see more because I really feel like Angina, out of all of these people, probably one of the best at coaching methods, period. And I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah, as a teacher and a coach, Angina's probably the person I would pick. I think
Yes.
she would have delivered that very well. So that's a good point. I didn't really think about that while watching, but yeah, I am a little bit sad that we didn't get to see, especially what would have been a very stark contrast between the way Angina was working with her partner and the way Rebecca chose to work with her.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. Missed opportunity, but also just not what sells, right?
Yeah, very true. We are here for the drama at the end of the day, and
Mm-hmm.
there is some drama. So the queens get this challenge laid out for them. They start working with these fighters to develop a look and a runway walk. Nina has to completely design and build a full outfit for Mia because Mia is so much taller than her that like she cannot wear anything that Nina has.
Yeah, double the
Um,
height. That's exactly where she starts too. It's like, listen, we're gonna get to everything else in a second. I have to make you some clothes.
Yeah, because I don't have anything that you can wear, which
Yeah, no
a whole
way.
extra layer. Yeah, a whole extra layer for what Nina has to go through. And she does such a great job. But as we go through this, we get to the part of the episode that we have in every episode where Rue walks around the workroom and checks in with all the girls. We get a couple of the touching moments of like, this is my first time wearing a bra. I've never worn heels before. These are the pressures I deal with. All of those great. Then Rue comes out and has an additional challenge for the girls and announces to everybody after they've already been working for a while that these fighters are also expected to lip sync. So they have to do a full lip sync performance. And the song that they have to lip sync to is revealed as Freakum Dress by Beyonce.
So
Now,
tough. So tough to
yeah,
add that mid challenge. Like,
mid
damn.
challenge. If they had the whole time to work on that, they could have spent the bulk of the time doing that and then
Yes.
kind of building everything else up. But now that they've already spent a significant amount of time on everything else, they have to completely re-gear and like shift priorities into teaching not only the choreography of a lip sync performance, but also teaching these girls how to lip sync, sell it. They have to learn the song, they have to learn the words. It's a lot. It's huge. And I think even Angina jumps in a talking head after the song is announced and says, this song is so difficult, I can't lip sync it. How am I
Mm-hmm.
supposed to teach my partner to lip sync it?
And honestly, I mean, we just spent the last, I don't know, probably 5 to 7 minutes watching these women have difficulty even walking in heels in a
Mm-hmm.
convincing manner. It's like now you want them to learn choreography, dance, and remember the words
Dance.
to this song.
Yeah. And lip sync to a difficult song.
Yeah. Crazy,
Difficult
Rue.
song.
Crazy. What the hell?
Yeah. So that definitely throws a bit of a curveball for all the girls. And they immediately shift to teaching their girls to, lip sync the song, to learn the song. And this is where we see a little bit more of BB and her partner Michelle in the workroom process. And it gets revealed that BB is like pretty frustrated with Michelle. Michelle does seem to be, in my eyes, from what we've seen, Michelle seems to be trying to have fun with the whole thing. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
she doesn't seem like she's not taking it seriously, but she does seem like she's trying to have fun and kind of, at the very least, being fun about the way she's approaching everything. And like, it appears to be getting under BB's skin. There's a moment, I think they're both on the couch talking about Michelle needing to listen to the song like another, 15 or 20 times to make sure she gets it all. She's like, I just need a break. Let my brain rest for a second. And he was like, well, okay, you stay here and do this. And I'm just going to go over there and you can get me whenever you're ready. And it's like, BB,
There was a bit
I
of a
thought,
clash.
Yeah, I thought you would be a little more. I Other than Angina, I thought BB would be one of the best people to work with because I thought she would be a bit more understanding about the whole process. But it seems like even maybe from some of the clips earlier that BB's just kind of frustrated with Michelle's like happy-go-lucky approach to the whole thing.
Yeah, really interesting. Overall, I think one, we don't get to see everything that's going on, unfortunately. It's all heavily edited, right? But I do think that as a coach, if I tell you to do something 40 times, right? If you have 40 reps of this exercise, if you have 40 burpees to do, then you better do them before you do anything else, right? And I think in BB's eyes, they're working with an athlete. And if I ask you to listen to this song 40 times, sit there and listen to this song 40 times because I know what it's going to do for you. I know how you're going to accomplish greatness in this way. And any way that you fight back and tell me that you need a break, to me seems like a lack of commitment as a coach, right? So I need you to commit yourself.
Yeah, very interesting to see BB and Michelle kind of clash that way. I think I said Chanel earlier. I keep doing that, calling Michelle Chanel. The names are so close.
Yeah, it'll
Um,
keep happening. A little bit of Monica, right? A little bit of
yeah,
Rita.
yeah. Yeah, I was taken aback a little bit of this, but I definitely understand where you're coming from as well, where it's like, this is serious. And also, Michelle, you're not the one up for elimination if this goes wrong. I am.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
I want to win this, and I would like to see you also want to win this with me. And I don't know that maybe BB was getting frustrated because Michelle wasn't giving that kind of energy back.
I think so. I think so. And I get like trying to have fun with everything. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, competition should be fun. But also, if you're to the point of having fun that you're like not following the required steps to get there, we got to reel it in.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, make sure you do well. That being said, when we get into the performances, which I think we can just kind of move into here in just a second, when we get into the performances, I think Michelle does actually do pretty well, even given the kind of happy-go-lucky approach she took.
Hell yeah. Let's talk. Should we talk before we get into the performances? Should we talk who our favorite and least favorite was coming out of the workroom?
Yeah, that's perfect. So
Look at me.
just on
Look at
what
me
we've seen
taking
in the
host seat,
workroom,
boy.
yeah, you're getting used to it, man. You're becoming a vet. You're like, well, wait, don't talk about that yet. I want to share who I like the most.
Yeah. I'm getting too excited. Hold on. All
Yeah,
right, let's
but
get back into
exactly
it.
that. I do want to jump into that. So just from the workroom, I did a top two and a bottom two
Mm,
because we're so low on queens now, right? There's only five left. So we'll start with you. Who are your personal top and personal bottom before we actually see the runway and the performance?
sure. I'm now realizing as we talk about this, top and bottom has multiple meanings, but I only wrote down one for each because we are. So maybe you told me
Okay.
to write down two. I don't know. I didn't listen to you, so I wrote down one. I've got my top queen, my favorite queen as
Okay.
BB, and
Okay.
the queen that is my least favorite going into this is Rebecca, of course. As a coach, like
Yeah.
I was cringing to
It's
see the
hard to
way that she was
watch.
coaching. Absolutely. But also the theme that I saw BB working on got me super excited. So I really thought again, BB being the like ultimate professional queen that she is, gonna pull this one out really strong.
Yeah, I agree. I thought BB was looking pretty good. She did not make my top three or my top two. I was actually, I think both Nina and Chanel were set up to be really good through this workroom challenge. And a lot of that I think has to do with how much of the relationship I saw between them and their partner, where Chanel
Mm-hmm.
looked like she was working really well with Sweet Pea, and Nina and Mia looked like they were having a blast. Like every time we cut to Mia, she's excited, she's happy about what's happening. Um, and I know Nina does a good look. Like there's also maybe a question there of how feminine Nina ever gets. But Nina has a good eye. So I think between
Agreed.
both of them, I was expecting some good stuff. BB actually near the bottom for me. BB and Rebecca both. And I think BB kind of expresses that she wants to lean into like Michelle's background and story a little bit with
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing on the runway. And for me, that kind of read counter to what the prompt was. The prompt was to make this person you, right? Not necessarily take your ideals and make them themselves through your lens, which it felt like might be the approach BB was taking. I was worried that might hurt her a little bit when
Okay.
it comes to judging. Yeah, and there's some bias there too because I'm familiar with this episode and the episode scheme, and some of the critiques I've heard in other seasons, and so I was kind of foreshadowing some of that in my mind. Are the judges going to clock her for maybe not being a little mini BB or not having too much of a resemblance because they're taking kind of separate approaches.
Yeah, interesting. Now that you say that, it kind of reconciles some things that are said later in the episode, which I just
Yeah.
wholly disagree with. But we'll get there.
Yeah, interesting. Well, let's do it. Let's jump into the challenge and performance, right? So we have two parts to this. We have the runway walk and the look as a whole for both the queen and their partner, their fighter. And then, of course, we have the solo lip sync on top of that. And the queens are being judged on both of these, how their girls perform in the runway and that lip sync.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive in. I've got them in the order that they appear on the episode. So
Nice.
first up, Miss BB and Michelle.
There it is, man.
Yeah. So this was as much visuals as I could get. Our little GIF graphic of kind of both of them, and then separate images. And what I think was most important here, the before and after photo for Michelle.
That actually is a really. Did we get to see the before and after in that? Maybe I just don't remember. But yeah, really, really cool to kind of see it again, I suppose. It was probably really quick because, again, a lot to cover. We talked 2 hours about a 45-minute episode, so a lot to cover, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Overall, when I saw BB and Michelle paired together, this is exactly what I wanted to happen. This is specifically the look that I wanted to come out. I wanted like African queen and her like belly dancer courtesan like coming on stage, showing they're from they look like they're from the same areas of the earth, right? This is very thematic. They're both gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. And like the walk and the way that they played out the whole scene, like this wasn't just a runway walk. This was the opening to a movie to me. Like I thought that this was really, really good. From theme to transformation to the walk, all of it.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you here. I think, as I mentioned before, I know that this challenge is to have these two people resemble each other. And there is a difference, like a pretty obvious difference between the two people on stage. That being said, I don't disagree with you. I kind of like this approach. And I liked the idea that like they're both from, we'll say, similar parts of the world. There is obviously a lot of difference or distance between like Cameroon, and we don't know exactly where Michelle is from, but this is giving kind of a Middle Eastern, Northeastern African kind of a vibe, right?
Yeah, the like Muslim empire, right?
Yeah. So I agree with you. I think this was very interesting, and I think I also agree with BB's take of going, my drag is me bringing my culture to the stage and everything that I do. I am Cameroon, and that's what I want Michelle to be. I want her to be her culture because my drag isn't Cameroon. My drag is my culture. Yes. And my culture is Cameroon, right? So I agree with you. Like, I think this was an interesting take. It was a little bit of an outside the box take. But this is also the first season. It's the first time we've done this episode. These queens don't have 6 seasons to look back and go, oh, the family resemblance challenge is supposed to look like this, right? They're interpreting it off of what they were told. And this, I think, is a solid interpretation. I think BB maybe catches a little too much flack for this interpretation.
Dude, not only is it solid, but it's artistic at so many levels. And then we're going to get to them, but some of these are so simple I don't understand how BB catches flack here. Like this is
Yeah.
was so angry with the judges at the end of this episode. It was bullshit.
Yeah, judges get on one the last couple of episodes, not
Honestly.
understanding what's going on with them, and kind of how they're making up their minds. But I do think, and kind of to what I mentioned earlier, Michelle, I think, performs well. She walks the runway
Yes.
well. She kind of sells this well. I do agree that BB did not do her makeup all that well. Like, I don't think it's particularly bad. I do think it could have been better. Um,
It's not terrible, but it is also very BB. Like highlighting the
it's
high
very BB.
cheekbones, smoking out the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very BB. It's not terrible, I don't think,
No.
but it's not like super glam, extra fashion, double
Mm-hmm.
RuPaul times 1,000. Like it's not that.
Yeah, it is. It does look like you just sucked the makeup off of BB's face and just went right onto
Yep.
Michelle's face.
Yeah, a little Kirby effect. A little Kirby effect for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't read her a little bit for that, but we've seen BB's approach to doing makeup on someone else. We know that it's not a strong suit of BB's, and it's not something she's done a lot. So for all of those things being considered, I do think Michelle still looks very pretty here.
Yeah. And I remember
Yeah.
during the coaching section, like she was having problems with the half smile. She was having problems with the seduction. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you can see even just in this little clip where she's walking, like she got it. She understood it. BB coached her. I wouldn't say to perfection, but BB coached her up from zero to pretty damn close to hero here.
Yeah, I agree. I think from a performance standpoint and from the lip sync, we just go ahead
Yeah.
and talk about the little lip sync segment because it does end up being a relatively small part of the judging. Of course, we're not going to lay into these fighters for not being excellent lip syncers after having just a couple hours of training. That's rude to everybody involved, right?
Yes.
It's mostly for the fighters to have fun and get to just perform and be kind of silly on stage. So we're not judging any of them harshly for their performance. We will comment on it, but we definitely understand they're new and we're not holding it against them in any way. All of that being said, Michelle got into it. She
She
was
sure
having
did.
fun. She's the only one that looked like she was just flat having fun out there on stage.
And the only one that looked like she actually knew the lyrics. I don't know if I'm
Oh,
spoiling
that
anything,
too.
but like she was the one that was most on point with the actual lip sync. So
Yeah.
just like I said, when BB said listen to that thing 30 times, you better listen to that thing 40 times just to make BB happy. You know what I'm saying? Because she knows.
Yeah.
She knows what it takes. And just do what she's telling you to, and you're going to succeed. And I think in this aspect, including the lip sync, like Michelle, was a success.
I agree. I think Michelle, as a performer, kind of from the whole group, I think Michelle turned it out the best.
Yes.
Um, the critiques and the take of the challenge and the actual prompt are valid. I think, though. I still kind of align with you. I honestly, after workroom and everything, and after hearing BB explain what she was going to do, um, I didn't expect it to turn out this good, and I was kind of surprised at how well it all worked on the stage. But I do understand the kind of general take that this person is supposed to be a little miniature copy of you. And that is not what's happening on stage right here, right? These are two
Okay, but
very
like,
different people.
bro, how you going to do that? They're two completely different colors. They're two completely like one is super tall, one's super short. Like we could go the
Well,
whole like Nina Flowers route, but then we have the color problem, right? We could go the whole Rebecca route, but then we have the color problem, right? Like I don't it doesn't I think BB took a shit hand and turned it into absolute gold here. And I don't think I can back down off of that. I don't care like which way you want to interpret this, whether it's supposed to be a family.
mm-hmm.
Hell, the way that she did this, that definitely could be family. That could be, third cousin twice removed, just because of the way that she tied together the two cultures. So like, I'm sorry, but like the judges just don't have the mind to me to be able to judge at this level. BB's playing chess. These judges are playing damn checkers.
I think that's a good segue of how are you like BB kind of dealing with the hand that was dealt and how she decided to lean into maybe their differences as opposed to our next competitor, Chanel, who
Mm-hmm.
very much so did not lean into differences and kind of played more into that family. This is kind of very much giving, obviously, one of these people is African American and the other one isn't, but this is very much giving like a mother daughter kind of vibe to me.
Because they're wearing like the same shade of clothes.
Yeah, kind of like it's the whole vibe, right? Both of them have this kind of dominatrixy, like high end dominatrixy kind of feel. They both have very pretty makeup that's not exactly the same makeup copy and pasted. They don't have the same hair, but they both have hairstyles that play into the overall aesthetic. And their clothes are matching, right? They have the rhinestones, the black, everything like that. Like it's a resemblance challenge. Like the point is to resemble each other. And I think Chanel does that with her partner Sweet Pea.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm less convinced. I will say, however, that Chanel put in a lot of work here on Sweet Pea. I mean, look at the before and after, right?
The
That
before and
before and
after in this
after,
is crazy.
stunning, stunning. I'm not going to say that, Sweet Pea came out like class A, most beautiful woman in the world, but like, look at that. Look at this. Absolutely amazing work with the hair, the makeup. I would say the clothes are done, really, really well. I I just I after and they probably did like a disservice to everyone in my opinion with BB going first because after that expectations for an artistic take were so high that all of this like we both have rhinestones outlining our boobs like fell so flat to me at the end of the day. But like yeah, sure they both look like, two people that work at the same brothel, high-end brothel.
I think it's interesting to hear your take because as somebody who, as I mentioned before, has seen this specific type of episode more than a dozen times at this point, right? And all the critiques that they give, I can say with a very high level of certainty that this output is what they're looking for. Like,
Interesting.
this was the direction they want people to go in. And you can kind of see that in the rest of the queens in this episode, but also in future seasons. But I say all that not to specifically disagree with what you're saying. I think from your point of view, and especially again, considering this is the first time this episode's been done and that prompt was as vague as it was, I do think it was a bit of a disservice to BB to knock her so hard for being so conceptual with it instead of
Mm-hmm.
taking it literally like Chanel did. This Chanel took this literally, right?
Super literal. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She's not really teaching us anything about like her drag or the way she views her drag. She just said, "Oh, okay, I need this person to look like part of my drag family," which you'll learn more about their drag families and blah blah blah. I need this person to look like part of my drag family. Okay, done. I'm gonna make her look like a queen I could be proud of walking out, and that's what she did here. The judges do kind of mention, I think it's Santino actually that calls out having Sweet Pea take off the neck piece that she has on in these two photos and
Mm-hmm.
kind of open up that upper body. And I do think that was a good call. I do think it looked a lot better when she took the neck piece off.
Really? What about
Yeah,
it? Because they said that and I was like, I don't it
don't
didn't
see
make a
much of a
difference to
difference.
me. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
what about opening up the upper body like made it better, made it more feminine? What I mean, what?
So traits associated, like, and this again, this is me talking as only a moderately educated person in the fashion world, but traits that are frequently considered really feminine are things like longer, thinner necks,
Mm-hmm.
um, like leaner shoulders, like thin waist, right? That hourglass kind of shape. And when you wear like a neck piece like this that completely covers Sweet Pea's neck from collarbone up, it kind of shortens her torso.
I see.
Um, it brings her head a little bit down closer to her chest, and the whole thing just kind of looks visually a little bit shorter and stunted. Then compare it to Chanel right next to her, right? Who doesn't have a neck piece on, and you can see that long stretch of skin from like low sternum all the way up to under the chin. It kind of elongates her body. It makes her look long and thin, especially with the way her cutout works to bring the waist in and kind of exaggerate that long, thin hourglass appearance, right? Where with Sweet Pea, it's kind of shortening her up a little bit. She's already short, right? So doing things like horizontal lines or like covering the neck just kind of squats her down a little bit more. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Surprise, surprise. I know nothing about this, but that all does make complete sense to me. I personally think Chanel always ends up in my bottom, unfortunately, because she's one of the more manly queens left. There's some features that she just does not hide well,
She
whether
just
it's
can't
like
overcome
the male pattern baldness, the like the supposition of the nose. There are like some things that like really stick out to me, and I'm like, that's still a dude up there. But like all those things that you're saying, I can recognize as correct once explained to me, I think.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. And I was very much the same way, right? And there's still things I look at and I'm like, I don't understand why we care about the difference between these two things. And then, like on Project Runway or something, they will explain why it matters or why it makes a difference. And you're like, oh shit, now that you say that, I can see it for sure.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's like you have some colors that work well with you and some colors that don't. And like if you don't know anything about it, you're like, why does it make a difference if I wear blue or red? But then you put a blue shirt on and look in the mirror and put a red shirt on and look in the mirror and you're like, oh, that's why it makes a difference. Why
I see what happens to my skin. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it is kind of one of those things. But yeah, I think as kind of a template, all of the things that Chanel does that I think you think are very literal and a relatively pedestrian take on the prompt are kind of the things they're looking for. They are looking for a little bit more of a literal take on this drag resemblance thing. And that ends up hurting BB. But I agree. I'll say it 1,000 times. I agree with you that taking a conceptual approach should not have been shat upon quite as hard as it was.
Straight up. Yeah. Overall. And I think we'll get to some more. I love the term you use, rather pedestrian takes here. As we kind of go through these queens. I guess we should talk about the lip sync, huh? I think Sweet Pea was like number 2 for me as far as lip syncs go. I think one, like she's been in the kitchen listening to some Beyonce before. Like the dance, the swagger, it was all there. All right. So like she's been in this situation before, lip syncing for her life against the taters that she's cooking up, you know what I'm saying? But she also had, from the very, very short clips we got, I'm talking like 1.5 to 3 second clips.
Very short clips, yeah.
She was singing the words. So obviously had some of the words down as well, put in the work there.
Yeah, she did look a little bit nervous while she was doing it. But she also looks like she was having fun. Like I think between all of the girls, Michelle, Sweet Pea, and then Mia, seemed like through the whole thing they were having the most fun with everything that was going on. Yeah. And that's a great segue into Mia and Nina Flowers.
Man, I've seen this chick in a movie. I swear to God, I don't know.
It's a fucking Austin Powers movie, dude. It's got to be an Austin Powers movie.
No,
which one, Nina or Mia? Because Mia's Austin Powers.
Mia is like either early Arnold Schwarzenegger or no. You know who it is? It's the. Is it the bus? Is it the cab driver who drives in Pulp Fiction? Right. When Bruce Willis wins his fight that he's supposed to lose for Marcellus Wallace to make all of his money, he gets in a cab, and the cab driver that he's talking to is like this tall, like Russian chick. And I swear that's Mia. She like went back into time and pulled. Yeah, we'll have to check that out. See if we can like superimpose something on the screen. But I'm telling you, I had seen this look before, and it just hit me where that came from.
Yeah, Nina saw Mia and was like, "Have you seen Pulp Fiction?"
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, this look, and like, I still think Nina did extremely well here. This is kind
Yeah.
of falling into the same thing that Chanel did, right? A much more literal take on translating your drag onto somebody else. But I think
Yeah.
she fucking nails it.
Yeah, but this is a literal take. I'll give it that. When you have someone that looks so close to you like this, I think it would be wrong to not take a literal take, because
Fair.
they straight up they look like mother daughter. You know what I'm saying?
They do.
This is going like a pedestrian take, but like in a good way. This is like gold pedestrian. This is the golden manhole cover of the
Yeah.
pedestrian takes, and I liked it honestly. And the clothes that she made from scratch, absolutely awesome.
Look good. Kind of harkening back to
Yeah,
that first episode where Nina put together a great fucking outfit, like from scratch. Nina got a little bit of a designer in her, and we're
honestly,
seeing it kind of poking
bro.
through.
Yeah, me could take this home and be a hit. Honestly,
Oh yeah, this look like I hope Mia got to take all of this and go home. Like
seriously,
Nina was
seriously,
like, "You just take it." Yeah, we know Nina's not fitting in that fucking dress, so
no way, no
give it
way.
to Mia.
The breast would be up to Nina's eyes. You may as well
Yeah,
take it home.
exactly. And this definitely demonstrates the kind of height difference I was mentioning before
Mm-hmm.
when they get assigned. Mia's a whole head taller than Nina,
Yeah.
which was very interesting to like see them work together. But I think Mia looks stunning here. Like the hair choice is unique. It is a very Nina thing. And I do think one of the judges kind of points out that maybe she would have looked better in a more traditional hairstyle. I flat disagree with that take. I think the whole
Yeah.
point of this was to make you look like each other. And I think Nina hit the nail on the head, as squarely on the fucking head as she possibly fucking could.
And they also said to like represent you, right? And we
Yeah.
know that Nina is the big hair don't care queen. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? We know that Bibi is the Cameroon cultural queen. So like we shouldn't be
Yep.
surprised here, I suppose, is what I'm saying is whether it's
Agreed.
thematic or it's like just straight like a straight take, we're still answering the prompt here.
Agreed. Agreed. And I think the judges are a little harsh on both of these competitors because of that. I was surprised. Nina walked out like this with Mia. I was shooketh, right?
Yes.
Because the before and after doesn't even really do it justice when you see Mia like walking around, and you can kind of see it in her performance and in her lip sync. Mia, God love her, is a giant robot and just very stiff, kind of
Stiff, boxy, just
walking on the runway, kind of all of it very stiff, very boxy, very robotic. You can tell she's kind of uncomfortable, but she is having a good time. I think you can even kind of see it on her face in these images. Like she looks like she's really digging what she looks like, and she's really into the whole thing. And like her
I,
lip sync, while robotic, also still looked like she was having a good time.
I think she talks about how much fun she had. Like, I think they do
Yeah.
like a little B-roll interview segment and talks about how she loved doing this and kind of loves doing this sort of thing when she's at home and not punching people in the face. So
Yeah.
like absolutely kind of played really, really well together. I think the looks were really dope. I even enjoyed the fact that they didn't have like the same patterns in their dress like Chanel before. Like we both have rhinestones around our boobs. Like
Yeah, right.
this is even like a little bit more artistic than that, where it's the same
Mm-hmm.
color palette, but
Right.
two very different
Very different.
dresses. Long sleeves versus no sleeves, patterns
Mm-hmm.
versus no patterns. Really
Huge
cool.
collar,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
thin neckline, all of it. Very different, but very similar, all at the same time. Um, I, in my opinion, Nina did the challenge the best out of everybody, right? I know we're going to get into our top threes and everything,
Hmm.
but um, especially from watching this, like it was kind of back and forth for me between Chanel and Nina because I also think Chanel was very good at this. I think both of them worked really well with their partners. They kept their partners happy, comfortable. They had a good time. That rate's really high for me because this challenge isn't just about you getting the job done. It's about you working with other people and people from different
Hmm.
backgrounds and things like that. And both Chanel and Nina, I think, knocked it out of the park. To your point, even though I think Chanel looks stunning and I think she made Sweet Pea look stunning, um, I think Nina fucking kills it with this. Like,
I agree.
this is so good. And it surprised me because I didn't know what to expect when they came out. But like, this might be one of my favorite Nina looks, just Nina on her own looks of the season. I love this outfit.
Yeah, I could give that. I still think I enjoy the Junker Queen the most from episode one. I'll always call
Okay.
back to that as being like the ultimate classic Nina look. However,
Yeah.
I do think that this is high rating. I'm not going to, I obviously side more towards BB's take than any of these
Yeah.
queens' take. Unfortunately, that puts all of these queens at best getting second to me. But
Yeah.
that being said, Nina was a very close second in my book.
Yeah, I was surprised. I love the fabric on Nina's outfit. I love the pattern choice for Mia. Yeah, I was really into this. Another thing I want to call out that I kind of missed when we were talking about Chanel is the way that the queens present themselves. And Chanel actually does not share the runway with Sweepy. Sweepy
Yeah.
comes out on her own and then leaves, and Chanel walks out and does her own walk and then leaves. So they're never on the stage at the same time. Mia and Nina do something kind of similar where Mia comes out first and does a walk. And then, as you can see, they both meet on the back of the stage. And then Mia exits and Nina comes out. So they're not both on the runway together, but they are both standing next to each other during the presentation, which Chanel did not do for some reason. And I think that kind of comes back to hurt her.
Yeah, a little bit. Definitely a strange choice. And I think that this is about as far as you could lean that way and get away with it because we do want to see both of the looks together, like right next to each other. And we just don't get
Yeah.
that chance with Chanel.
Yeah, which was an interesting choice. All of these queens got to decide how they walked the runway. So it was an interesting take to not have, because BB and Michelle come out together,
Mm-hmm.
and you see them together. And then immediately after that, did I do it again? BB and Michelle, not Chanel, BB and Michelle come out. I don't even know at this point. So I
Yeah.
hope, as a listener, I hope you're tracking with me. BB and Michelle come out together. Then immediately following that, Chanel and Sweepy come out separately. And we do continue to see somewhat separate runways. Like Nina, theirs is what I would call somewhat separate, where both are out separately, but they are also both sharing the stage at the same time. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
a combination of the two. Up next, because we spent a lot of time on lovely Nina again. I can't get over it. I keep looking at this. I think it's great, and I think Mia looks stunning. Like, even with the crazy hair, I vibe with the whole thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
moving on. Rebecca and Temple. So this is the first time we're really getting to see Temple much because I didn't have much images for her for anybody who's watching. But here you can kind of see in the before and after photo the difference between the two. And as you can see, they do come out and walk together, much more like BB and Michelle. But I know you have some thoughts on this. I definitely have some thoughts on this. So let's get into it, especially after the very mommy dearest approach that Rebecca was taking. How do we feel the performance turned out?
I mean, I wanted to sleep through this part. Honestly, this was so boring. This is of all the pedestrian looks, this is the most pedestrian.
This is
This is terrible.
pedestrian. Yeah.
Not only is this nowhere near high fashion at all, it's not
Right.
artistic. It's the same thing that we've seen out of Rebecca over and over. The most artistic thing
Since
we've seen out
day
of Rebecca
one.
was last episode when she decided to go like punk rock queen or whatever the hell it was. We're right back to
Yeah,
this
which
to the
didn't work.
same the two cards that she's got held close to her chest, the same shit as we've seen in the other three episodes. Like this was boring as hell. This was bad.
Mm-hmm. That's been my note for Rebecca for the whole season. Boring.
Yeah.
Snooze fest.
And the wigs were
Like,
shit. I think the wigs sucked too.
the wigs look the worst out of all
Mm-hmm.
of the wigs. Even on China did better with Jared's wig
I'm
than
saying.
Rebecca did. How are you going to get outwigged by China who don't even wear wigs?
I'm saying, bro. This was bad. This was so
This was
bad.
bad. I agree. I don't think the outfit fits Temple very well. There's
Nope.
like some bunching up under the like side boob area and into the armpits. The slit, like the low slit that comes down, looks almost unintentional. Like it doesn't read to me like Rebecca put a ton of thought into what Temple looked like. It was just, this is what I'm wearing, and I'm just going to slap the exact same thing on you, despite how it works with your body or anything about you.
Well, Rebecca got this dress from Ross. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like this
yeah,
is
yeah. It was
this
a
is
two
not
for one.
impressive. Yeah,
Like,
this was legitimately the Ross version of this challenge. It was bad. The even the performance was bullshit. Like
the
let's both
performance was bad.
walk out like robots together in the same, soldier line, and then we're gonna kiss, and then we'll keep on going right back.
Uh-huh.
It was
Very
comical.
basic.
It was bad. It was this is the basic white bitch. They may as well have had pumpkin spice. Freaking, it was bad.
Yeah, if there was a word of the day for performances, it's pedestrian, and this is that performance.
Mm-hmm.
This is just basic. Like, that's not to say that Temple doesn't look good. She does. I think Temple is a pretty woman on her own, right?
Yeah.
So when she does even a little bit to like wear a dress that accentuates her figure a little bit, puts on some earrings, a little bit of makeup, and a wig, like, she looks good. She's a pretty woman. That being said, she is pretty. Rebecca just put things on her, right? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem
And
like
only like
Rebecca
three
took any
things.
care. Yeah, any care. To contrast this with Nina, who I think Nina built a look around Mia to make Mia look good and look like Nina.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca could have, you could take any of these fighters out of their partnership and inject them in here. Rebecca would have done the same fucking thing. Like, she didn't consider her partner one bit. She didn't do it through coaching. She didn't do it through working with her in the workroom. And she clearly didn't do it with the look. And that to me rates her the lowest. I was hella disappointed when I saw
At
that,
the
when I
bottom.
saw this come
At
out.
the absolute bottom. Yeah. This is bottom barrel take. This is
Mm-hmm.
3 + 3 = 6. And the other queens are doing, at the very least 2 × 3 = 6. It's,
Yeah.
this is rudimentary.
It is very rudimentary. And to see it directly following Chanel, who had such a high fashion take on it, and Nina, who had like such a Nina take on everything, and both of them doing it so well, both of them really elevating their queens. And then to see Rebecca coming out like, I don't even know what this outfit looks like, an outfit a porn star would wear in an office setting in a porn movie.
Yeah. Yeah. This is casting couch for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just so Rebecca. In the beginning, it was impressive that Rebecca looked so much like a woman. Now it's very evident that it is a one trick that this pony's got because
Mm-hmm.
it's just not cutting it anymore. It's not cutting it.
Yeah, agreed. So I was quite disappointed in this. I think I feel like even through this little clip that you get right here, like Temple feels nervous. Like, I don't know that Temple was all that happy with anything that went down. So yeah, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I was disappointed by it. I thought it was really basic, really, again, word of the day, pedestrian take on what the challenge was and how to put it together. The judges said that we'll get into the judges, so I don't want to dive into this too much, but I do want to mention it here while we've got this up on screen. The judges said this change from Temple before and Temple after was the largest change by far. And that to me blows my fucking mind. Temple in this after photo and Temple in this before photo could have been just Temple on a normal day. This is Temple
Yep.
at 10 when she's running errands. This is Temple when she goes out that evening.
Yep.
Like, the change here is not drastic at all, in the same way that me going from wearing gym shorts and a t-shirt to wearing a suit is a drastic change. Like, it's just,
Right.
they just changed clothes. Like, that's all they did with this girl.
Is it because her hair was blue before and now it's blonde
Now it's
under
not.
the wig? I don't get it.
Right.
Again,
What are we talking about?
like these, I don't know if these judges were high on this day, but they just had the most basic takes of for the entire series so far.
It was rough. We had Santino, and then we had two guest judges. Our
Mm-hmm.
guest judges for this episode, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. If I didn't, I'm sorry. Were Lucy Lawless of Xena Warrior Princess fame, if anybody knows who that is, and Robin Anton, who I think is a model or designer, something in the like fashion realm. But like, actually, let me look that up real quick. I'm next to a computer. I don't need to lie to our listeners.
Mm-hmm. Mom,
Robin
wait.
and
He's looking it up. Mom, just wait.
oh, she's a dancer and choreographer.
There we go.
Cool, right? But yeah, I think honestly, Xena Warrior Princess, I love you, Mama. Like the takes were pretty fucking basic out of these two judges. Like I didn't love their commentary on anything. I didn't necessarily agree with what they said.
Man, listen,
And
Lucy
then
was there for the check. Like it was a celebrity guest spot. You know what I mean? And I
yeah,
get like the tie together. Lucy Lawless built her career off of being like the strong, athletic, but still beautiful woman, Xena Warrior
woman.
Princess, whatever
Yeah,
else the hell
very
she did in her
applicable.
career. No one remembers anything but Xena Warrior Princess. My dog is named Xena, by the way.
That
So
maybe
thank you.
Spartacus. Yeah,
Sure.
and we
Yeah,
love
you're right,
Xena.
Spartacus. We love Xena. We
Xena,
love Xena. Hey,
Hercules, love
Lucy,
that shit.
we love you. All right.
We love
But
you.
like you built your
Yeah.
career off of like this one thing, and also you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to I don't know what I'm talking about. I can admit it. But like it was very, very evident in the way that you were critiquing these performances that you had no idea what you were talking about.
Yeah, it wasn't great critiques. And to add on top of the two guest judges, Santino, who I think never has good takes on anything, even when he does have a good take, it's a bad
Mm-hmm.
take.
Yeah.
It was some rough judging. Let's get through because I want to get into the judging. Let's get through our final duo. We have Angina and Jarrett. This is
Yes.
our last group to walk out on the runway. As you can see from this clip, Angina takes a very fashion show approach to this walkout. Jarrett comes out first, walks from the back of the runway to the front of the runway. Angina walks out behind her. Then they do an alternating circuit, so they are both out at the same time, and then they both leave kind of directly after each other. Very fashion show take. In my mind, the correct way to do this. This was the best take because fashion shows do that for a reason. I want you to see the looks together. I want you to see them separately. And I want to create an environment where you can really take all that in. And for that prompt, Angina nailed it. For the other prompts, let's get into it.
Listen, man, you know what? This was good for me. I thought, other than like, listen, Angina, I don't think put tits on, okay, but also Jarrett not super, well endowed. So like the
Yeah.
flowiness, it all kind of matched in a sense. This was meant to be, I suppose, a take on Angina. She's got like her hair done up in a way that is kind of like Angina's Fascinator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now noticing Angina actually didn't use a wig. This is Jared's hair. So
Correct. Yeah.
like cool that she got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was good. It wasn't, there was nothing super special about it to me. I thought it was very Angina, which to me is what the prompt was. So
Mm-hmm.
I had no problems. I also had very, very few critiques other than once again, Angina, you could have put some tits on. That's about it.
Angina could have leaned a little bit more into the feminine. And we get into that when the judges kind of talk to Angina and Jarrett about the look as a whole. Angina kind of mentions she wanted to take a sort of gender bending approach to this, where like, the contrast between both masculine and feminine approaches, and decides to make herself, Angina, who is a gay man, the kind of more masculine presenting, and makes Jarrett kind of more feminine presenting. In
Mm-hmm.
reality, that kind of results in their makeup being very similar. Again, Angina's not super great at doing makeup on somebody else. Not that this looks bad, it doesn't. Jarrett's a very beautiful woman, and with a little bit of makeup, Jarrett becomes a very beautiful woman very quickly. Um, but Angina, like, already already gotten critiques throughout the season of just looking like a small man coming out here in a dress and things like that. So I think leaning into the masculine for this challenge, when we're kind of clearly taking masculine women and feminizing them, the whole kind of goal is to feminize the person that you're with, leaning into the masculine, leaning herself into even more of the masculine. I do think Santino at some point was like, if you wanted to play with the gender roles thing, maybe have y'all switch and put her in the pants and like the pantsuit and Angina wear the dress. I don't necessarily think that would have been enough. But I don't necessarily disagree with Santino here that, like, if you are going to have this take, which I don't think you should have had this take, but if you are going to have it, maybe swap those roles and have. But that still, to me, it defeats the core purpose of the episode and the challenge. Having Jarrett come out in a slightly masculine look would have been like, okay, what'd you do?
Yeah, why was Jared here? You know what I mean?
Right.
I also think Santino says something about Angina not caring to tuck.
Yep.
And they zoom in on
It's kind of apparent.
on Angina's manhood.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not
in
even
the
really a
pants.
bulge. Like, it's like flapping around. The manhood
it's like
is
gray
loose.
sweatpants. Yeah,
Straight up.
It's
It
like
is gray sweatpants
going on.
And
Yeah.
listen, I didn't notice that, but once I did, I was like, okay, well, listen, that's a foul.
Ugh,
That's a foul. That's
yeah.
a yellow card. Whatever sport you play, that is some kind of like, we're taking 10 yards back. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely agree. Like to your point, I think especially when they're next to each other in the top right photo, there is definitely a resemblance there. Like there's a lot playing into that. This is, a take of myself on somebody else. But I just I don't think it fully gets there. I don't love the outfit that Jarrett's in. Like it looks mildly unfinished, or at the very least, like it doesn't fit super well. Overall, it still kind of reads somewhat masculine. Like I just didn't. I think I know where Angina was going with this. I don't think she got there, and I just don't think it looked all that great. And I feel a little bit bad because had Jarrett been paired with someone like Chanel or even Nina, I think she would have really got to lean into that feminine side and like come out here really feminine. And Angina was like, "I'm just gonna put you in a dress and tie your hair back so you look bald."
Timeout. I just want to point out that if you think any of these clothes are somewhat masculine, I'm gonna need you to go take a peek in your closet, come back and tell me what about this looks motherfucking masculine. Because there ain't nothing on this stage so far that looks masculine except for Angina's dick swinging around. Like listen, I just got to straight up disagree with you. I can agree with like the kind of unfinished look. Not all of the hems are exactly straight, right? We've got some things that were obviously rushed, but I think that again, Angina does like this kind of classic black and white and gold, like Chanel leaning look really, really well. That's Chanel, Chanel, not
like Coco
the
Chanel.
competitor Chanel. And I thought that this was, aside from the tuck, like a good take. Yeah, I'll give Santino like maybe one should have been the mask, like in the pantsuit, and one should have been in the dress. But at the end of the day, I wasn't mad at this. I thought that out of the ones that we saw, like this was the challenge. I honestly would have put this over Chanel's performance, in my opinion.
Really interesting. Yeah. We'll have to agree to disagree on that one for sure. I will both concede that this is the challenge. This is hitting the challenge, right? It is. It's also 10 times more interesting than what Rebecca came out in.
Easily.
I've looked at that look 50 times. I already forgot it. That's how boring it is.
Wait, Rebecca's still here? Oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like being nitpicky, especially as we're getting closer to the end of the competition, I can kind of see how this one falls short when compared to everyone but Rebecca. Like, I think this on stage next to Nina, this on stage next to Chanel, this on stage next to BB, like, this is the bottom of those four, in my book.
Yeah. Other than BB, because I think she's in a separate atmosphere she's up in
Mhm.
the stratosphere. I think definitely between the other three, Rebecca being like down in the dumps, like the other three are relatively close to me. I wouldn't say completely interchangeable. Nina obviously was a show above the other two, but definitely like that makes that competition a little bit closer overall.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to did your top and bottom change at all after seeing the performances? Do they
Hell
stay
no.
pretty? Yeah,
Nope.
yeah. Mine's still pretty close to the same. I think I have Chanel and Nina as my top two out of all of this. I just personally enjoyed what they did the most. My bottom, only because I understand and have the context of what the judges' intentions for this challenge is. I see both Angina and BB as missing the judges' expectations the most. That is
Interesting.
not my opinion on who did the best. That is my assessment on what I think the judges were expecting to look for versus what these queens presented.
And that's why a two
Um,
party system doesn't work, man. No one's thinking for themselves.
yeah, we definitely need um, to get into what the judges talk about and how we feel about that as a whole, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot going on there. So I don't know if I have a specific slide for any of it. We can just leave these two up while we chat about it. Actually, nah, screw that. I'll go back and take us to each of the girls as we kind of go through what the judges say. So let's see. We'll jump all the way back to BB and Michelle. The judges kind of lay into BB a little bit. BB gets
Yeah.
critiqued on putting far too much makeup on Michelle. Hard to tell through the extremely blurry filters they put on season one that this is too much makeup. It does not read that way to us through the camera. But maybe give them a little grace that in person you can kind of see that. They ask Michelle if she feels like she has a lot of makeup on, and she doesn't wear makeup at all in her daily life. So of course she's gonna say yes, right?
Yeah. She even says that she's like, I don't wear makeup, and I went from like 0 to 1,000. So like, yes.
yes,
So
right,
like, yeah, she doesn't know.
right. But I don't think that was a super fair critique, at least from what we could see. And they just tell BB that the whole thing is a miss. They say Michelle is the only girl that looked worse after the makeover.
Out of line, completely out of line. And I think I wrote down BB's critiques came from a place of cultural misunderstanding. Like if you're not able to connect the dots, I don't know how much closer I can bring them for you to be connected. Like you guys just don't get it. And that's okay that you don't get it, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't. And if you think BB was below Rebecca, if you think BB was below anyone else on this stage, fuck you. That's all I gotta say about it.
Dax is dying on that hill.
I will die on the hill. I'll
It's going
die.
to be a
I'll get
tough fight.
revived a couple of times. That's my respawn point, is that fucking
Yeah,
hill.
that's my respawn point. That's funny. Yeah, overall, I don't super disagree. I think both of them look great in their own way. It looked like Michelle was having fun. I think it's wild that they said Michelle looks worse after the makeover.
That's so
I do
wild.
think that
Yeah.
has to be some kind of like just a straight miss, like from the judges. Seeing these two versions of Michelle in the bottom right, like, what are you talking about? Unless you're looking at it through like an American culture lens, that's the only way that this kind of makes sense, is that the girl on the right in this photo looks more American than the girl on the left.
That has to be the lens. It's like
Yeah,
America, good. America, beautiful. Not American, looks worse. You know what I
looks
mean?
worse. Yeah, which is crazy. It's a crazy take for me. Um, I totally don't agree with it. Yeah, totally don't agree with that. Next, Chanel and Sweet Pea. Let's get into what the judges have to say about them, because it's mostly positive, right? I've
It
got
is
notes
mostly
that they get
positive.
good critiques. Yeah. This is where
Yeah.
they ask Sweet Pea to take the neck piece off. And we
Mm-hmm.
kind of talked about that a little bit already. I do kind of agree with that. I think it's a self-editing moment for Chanel where she could have just edited that part out and elevated it a little bit more. But overall, good critiques.
I think overall they said, like you said, more self-editing. They said some of the things were overdone from what I remember. There's the neck piece. I think they commented on both neck pieces actually, not just um, Sweet Pea's neck piece, but also Chanel's collar, just like being a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I didn't like this anyway, so I agreed with whatever anyone bad had to say about it, including Santino. Fuck it, Santino. If you're rooting for my team, I'm gonna root with you. But yeah, overall, this was they liked it, which I guess because it fit whatever box they're thinking in boxes. I'm thinking in spheres, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
They did very much have a box in mind for this episode and wanted you to be well within that box.
Mm-hmm.
Chanel, Mia, and Rebecca, I think, fit within that box the best. Um, and I still can't get over the before and after photo and just how drastically different and how very pretty Sweet Pea turns out to be
Yeah,
in this photo. Not that Sweet
crazy,
Pea's not pretty on her own in general, but this is a huge start. This is the biggest change out of everybody. Fuck
without a doubt.
Temple. Yeah. Well, not fuck Temple. Fuck the change they said was the greatest through Temple. This one, massive difference. Day and night. They look like two different people.
Exactly. Yeah, wouldn't be able to clock that that's Sweet Pea, except I know.
Yeah, except yeah, they're basically telling us, right? For all we know, Chanel just went and got somebody with similar tattoos and said, "Hey, come on."
Honestly, come here. I'm gonna draw some tattoos on you.
Yeah. So yeah, good critiques kind of all around, but they didn't love everything. Got critiques on self-editing, some of the other things, but yeah, judges were a fan of this as a whole. Next, Nina and Mia, they also get good critiques. We don't hear a ton from the judges about any of these looks, aside from, I think, the comment that Mia would have looked better in a more traditional hairstyle and not this like large done up. Not even sure what you would call that particular
Yeah, like
hairstyle.
the Elvira looking. I don't know.
Something Marge Simpson kind of vibe going on.
Oh, that's good.
But I like, as I mentioned before, I really liked this look. I think they deserve all the good critiques. Someone also mentions that Nina Flowers looks like maybe a wicked witch or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
like, she does a little bit and I kind of vibe with it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean that's okay, right? I think
Mhm.
if that were the Wicked Witch of the West, she may have won at the end of the Wizard of Oz. Honestly,
Yeah.
but yeah, we've already said what I think about this look. Anything that the judges said, I honestly don't remember a lot about what the judge. I do remember them saying that they wanted to see Mia's hair down, which is
Mhm.
like okay, but that's not
It's
Nina.
not the
I've never
challenge. It's
seen Nina's hair
unrelated.
down. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank
so
you.
like as a whole, like, do the judges even understand the damn challenge? I feel like we
I
understand the
know.
challenge better
Like,
than
what
they
was
do.
that critique? Yeah.
What the hell?
Agreed. I didn't like that critique one bit. I think she would have looked better with her hair down. That's not the fucking challenge. The challenge wasn't making Mia look the best she could possibly look. The
Fuck off,
challenge was to make
Santino.
Mia look like Nina. Yeah, exactly. Shut the fuck up, Santino. Um, yeah, so not a ton. They don't spend a lot of time on this.
Mm-hmm.
They give just broadly good critiques and then kind of mention a couple of little things. So I don't disagree with it. Yeah, moving on, we get to a more controversial take, talking about Rebecca and Temple. One of the judges, I think it might be Robin, does say that they look dressed down compared to everybody
Yeah.
else. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yes, I agree, read them. And then immediately goes on to say, but this looks really good and it works really well for me. And I was like, no,
No, it
no,
doesn't.
it
It doesn't work
doesn't.
well for anybody. Shut up.
Yeah, they had a lot of positive critiques. They liked the performance. They say the transformation is the greatest, as I mentioned before. Like, totally disagree with that. Like, just crazy to me. Heaping praise on Rebecca.
Just wrong. Just all completely wrong praise. Listen, this isn't my show.
Yeah.
I'm. This is the fifth episode of the show that I've watched, and I can already tell you that's wrong. And that must mean something, right? Like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Terrible. Terrible takes, terrible judging, and
Mhm.
overall, a terrible attempt at this challenge.
Agreed. Very boring, very pedestrian, very Rebecca. No growth here, no change here. The way she worked with Temple was horrible and immature,
Mm-hmm.
very similar to the way she's acted throughout the entire series. As I mentioned before, she is taking a very competitor approach. So, like, kind of pairing the queens up with people they wouldn't necessarily work well against. I respect that. I respect that this is a competition, and I respect you wanting to compete. But, like, there's obvious immaturity and room for personal development here, and Rebecca is just missing on all those points.
Agreed.
Yeah, so don't know what the judges were thinking. They loved this. We did not. Um, and then finally, we get critiques for Angina, which we just spent a lot of time talking about. Angina not tucking, them doing this kind of gender bending thing. The judges say all of that. Santino mentions they should have switched roles. I wrote that defeats the whole purpose of the thing. Like, the challenge wasn't to take a mask presenting women and make her more masculine. That is kind of the exact opposite of what they're asking them to do.
Thanks,
So
Santino.
yeah, right. I don't necessarily disagree with the judges' takes on this. Like, I'm also kind of getting tired of the bald head, small fascinator look. Like, I appreciate that you have an aesthetic, but can we bring something new to it? Nina does big hair, but it's not always the same wig. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like your fascinator's too small for it. Going from being a tiny top hat to a tiny watering can doesn't make enough of a difference in your look,
Yeah,
right?
that's fair. That's a fair critique, I think. But I will say that overall, as we've gone through all of these competitors, I just hands down disagree with what the judges had to say this episode.
Yeah.
Time and time
Yeah.
again. Almost on each competitor, I had a point of contention with what the judges had to say.
Yeah. And there were a couple of times I caught myself cringing at some of the feedback the judges were giving, where I was
Yes,
just
big
like,
time.
this just doesn't feel right to me. Right. And maybe that's a testament to how the show evolves and stuff over time. But like, me, as somebody who's watched Drag Race quite a bit now, 14, 15 regular seasons deep, multiple all-stars and international seasons and stuff, I've seen a lot of these runways. I've seen this challenge done a lot. And like, there are critiques for sure about the way Angina went about it, but like, to have this even on stage next to what Rebecca did and say Rebecca looks better is fucking crazy to me.
Absolutely
Crazy.
crazy.
Yeah. Ridiculous. So we do get through the judges' critiques, and they ultimately announce our winner for the challenge, our winner, and we get our bottom two. The winner they announce is, lo and behold, Rebecca fucking Glasscock.
What in the actual fuck? How? How does that
I don't
even
know.
happen?
Like, I think it's crazy. I like, even all of the things we've said, even all the concessions I've given to the judges and how they're looking for that, like, in the box kind of take on this and blah, blah. That lumps, honestly, the only person that excludes is BB, and only mildly. And that's because she took conceptual and not a literal approach to this, right?
Yes.
Everybody else took a literal approach to this. Everybody executed it better than Rebecca.
Exactly.
Everyone did.
Exactly. Like we're not even talking about the person that did a copy of themselves the best, that did the
Right.
pedestrian look the best, because she was the worst. She was the worst. She was the worst. She's been the worst for a really long time, and she keeps surviving. And this time, she got rewarded for it, which is crazy.
Very crazy. Very crazy. She comes off of an episode that she, I think, clearly should have gone home in.
Yes.
Like, I had to jump through mental hoops. I was doing mental fucking Olympic level gymnastics to understand why Jade went home over Rebecca, not only in the performance of the episode and in the resume, but in the specific performance of the lip sync where Jade outperformed Rebecca. Doing all the gymnastics, not understanding. Then we get to this episode, and to have Rebecca on stage standing next to Chanel, standing next to Nina, standing next to Angina, standing next to BB, and have the judges look Rebecca in the eyes and say, "We think you did the best," blew my fucking mind.
Listen, man, it's to the point now where I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe in any of that shit, honestly. But like, it's starting to look like Rebecca's in more than just my bottom. You know what I'm saying? You feel me?
Yeah.
Because like
Rebecca's bottoming out a couple of lists. You know what
a
I'm
couple,
saying?
a
A couple of
couple.
lists.
You hear me?
If she's still around for sure.
Jeez,
Yeah,
Louise.
there is kind of a concept that runs through multiple seasons where people think that Rue picks favorites and tends to be lenient, maybe overly lenient, or sometimes, provides a little bit of that favoritism to specific queens. It's debatable always, I think, when you see it, whether or not that's what's happening. It seems like maybe that started here in season 1 because Rebecca seems like she's getting favors from somebody to still be around. Because,
Shit,
like, I
she's
do
giving
not
favors to
understand it.
somebody, boy. I tell you what.
Yeah, the other queens in the challenge don't understand it. That was evident early in this episode when
Yep.
everyone was like, "I'm shook that Jade went home. Like, that's crazy." Like,
Yeah, astounded. Astounded. My mouth dropped open when they said her name.
yeah, don't agree with it. Don't like it. Kind of crazy. But then on top of that, let's get into who our bottom 2 were.
Let's. Oh, look at
BB
that.
and Angina. Bottom
Legitimately
2.
my 2 favorite left in the competition. Period.
By resume, these 2 are the strongest competitors by a long shot.
By
I
a
think.
long shot.
Even the kind of classical drag critiques that Angina gets for not tucking, for not being like super feminine, things like that. Both of them extremely consistent in performance, extremely consistent in challenges. If they aren't, this is, I believe, both of their first times being in the bottom for the whole season.
Yeah, it is. It is. And these 2 put out the highest quality work out of all the queens, period.
Yeah. Yeah. I think going into this, I thought Chanel and Nina were probably set up for the best because we've seen how they work with other people, how they do makeup on other people, the way Nina can adapt her style and is a bit of a designer. Like, all of those things, I think, lent both of them to be maybe a little bit above BB and Angina, who tend to be the front runners in every episode, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In no world was I thinking Rebecca was going to walk away with a win, and our 2 strongest competitors through the whole season are going to end up in the bottom against each other.
No way. I watched this thing and was pissed off the whole time. The whole time.
Yeah.
From the minute that Rebecca won. I think it's like 10 minutes left in the episode. Spent 10 minutes being pissed off.
Just mad about it. Yeah.
Yep.
I think it is wild. And we've obviously talked in length at this point about what the judges said and how we both agree and disagree with some of their takes, mostly disagree with most of their takes. So, like, can I understand where they're coming from for making this selection? Yes. Does that mean I agree with it or condone it or endorse it in any way? Absolutely not. I honestly think, personally, Chanel or Nina should have won this. Like, either one of those 2, I think, did the best out of this. I maybe lean a little bit Chanel, but the more I look at it, and especially through us talking about it today, I kind of lean back a little bit more Nina. Like, a little bit, did a better job with the self-editing. I think Mia looked stunning. I think they did a good job. I think Mia had a good time. They seemed to be genuinely friendly and stuff afterward. I think Nina probably should have walked away with this.
I wouldn't have been mad.
Rebecca to get it.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been mad if Nina won. I personally think BB had the most amazing artistic take out of all of these queens. I also think like the fashion and everything was the most on point for BB. However, if Nina would have won, I would not have been angry. Yeah. Rebecca winning, these 2 being in the bottom, that combination is out of this world to me. I'm watching a different reality.
Yeah, upset, very upset by this. Can't say I was super surprised. The whole episode had been kind of trending in this direction, to be honest. But Did not agree with it. Do not like it. Very upset. So of course, because BB and Angina are in the bottom, they have to lip sync for their life, baby. And the
They
song they're
do.
singing, "Stronger" by Britney
Britney,
Spears.
bitch.
Quite a fucking lip sync song. You know what I'm saying? You can have a
Quite.
lot of fun with this song. A lot of
Especially
fun with
with
this song.
these two queens. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh my
So
gosh. And it
I was gearing
was
up.
fucking
Yeah.
fireworks.
It was a hell of again, like we start with not great lip syncs this season. Like we
Mm-hmm.
get, and there are seasons that do this. There are queens that do not dance well. And like sometimes you get a boring lip sync or you get a really one-sided lip sync and one queen is just singing and dancing the fuck around to the other one. Right.
Like last episode.
Yeah, like last episode where Jade fucking ran that stage. These queens fucking go at it, right?
They
Now,
do.
Angina doesn't wear a wig, doesn't have like a ton to play with, but definitely brings the fucking energy. I did think it was funny. Angina takes a moment to kind of like slowly take the little fascinator off and
Yeah.
like be all dramatic about it, but it's so tiny. It's like,
Yeah, fussing
it just
over a flea. Yeah.
yeah, yes, it was hilarious to make such a big deal to take just the tiniest top hat in the world off of the side of your head. Like it makes any difference in your appearance whatsoever.
Yeah. But
Very,
as
very
they're going
funny.
through it, again, like we kind of have this yes queen moment, but also is a detractor to me because I think you should stay a little bit more
Yeah, we got to
poised
get
in this.
into it. Yep.
BB lost her wig, right?
BB loses her wig. For the
And
second time in season one, we have a
uh,
queen lose her wig in a lip sync.
and it broke my heart because I knew like this is a big detractor, and BB to me is the queen of all queens in this season. Like I'm looking for BB to win this thing, you know what I'm saying? And then she
Okay.
lost her wig mid lip sync in a really really tight race already of like two queens absolutely killing this song,
Yeah.
and I thought it was over right then and there.
It was rough. And you definitely like my heart sank into my stomach when you see it happen. You're
Mm-hmm.
like, no, no. And like to compare it to when it happens to Chanel earlier in the season, Chanel has this like large headpiece on that's like not
Yeah.
even really a wig. And you can tell it's super difficult to dance in. And Chanela was just coming off the back of getting critiques of being too perfect and never being vulnerable on stage and never like having a moment of that mistake or vulnerability for us to see. And so all of that kind of played into like Chanel lost her headpiece, but it's not that horrible. She's really kind of singing through it. And it does become, like you said, a very yes queen moment. But then for
Yep.
BB, it's like, BB, this is kind of a normal wig. Like this is kind of an outfit you should be able to do this in. And so, yeah, it hurt. Like I was scared when I saw that wig come off.
And it was even worse, honestly, because like you said, Chanel has like this big headdress thing, and it all kind of comes off in one
Yeah.
big motion when she starts jumping. BB's
Yep.
doing like this like head flop bullshit, you know what I'm saying? And it's like slowly, slowly slipping back, flop by flop, until finally one time it just pops off. And I think she even, if I remember right, I think she even like tries to like adjust it down, and it's over. Like the glue's undone, it's already back on her hair, and it just pops off.
Yeah. And you can tell, like, especially if you're seasoned, this is two wigs. She has two wigs on, like one
Mm-hmm.
on underneath a larger one to help puff it up and add volume, et cetera, et cetera. And like as it starts to fall apart, like the first wig, the top wig falls off first. And then there's a moment of her like wrestling the top wig off to get the second wig then off to reveal just her natural hair underneath. And like, yeah, like Chanel could very much just drop the thing off, huck it in the audience, and just rah, get into it, right? Where BB
Yes.
was like performing through it and keeping her cool, but also like, I don't know, oh no, oh gosh, goodness
Yeah.
gracious.
Oh, don't
Like,
look over here. Look at my feet. I swear I'm dancing.
yes, yeah, rough, kind of a scary moment overall.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, both queens fucking performing their hearts out for this one. Really solid performance on the two. And we get to the decision, right? Between Angina and BB, who's going to stay. Before it gets announced, Rue excuses herself and says, I need to take a minute. Like, this is a tough decision for me. And gets up and walks away from the judges' table. Like, we
Super
don't really know
dramatic.
for how long, but very dramatic. Very, like, this is all too hard for me. Gets up and walks away.
But honestly, the
Now I'm
scenario
thinking,
deserves it. I mean, we just spoke about these, like, are the
these are
two
the top
top,
queens.
like,
These are the
most
two top queens.
consistent. Yeah, these are the
Yeah.
top queens. I can say a bunch of different qualifiers, but these are the two top queens, and somehow
Mm-hmm.
they both landed in the bottom, mostly because the
Yep.
judges are idiots. Sorry, Rue. You want to talk about it? Come on to the show. It'll get us more viewers. Come on.
Yeah,
But like
please.
the two wrong queens ended up down here, and now Rue has to choose between the two top competitors who's going home. So absolutely well deserved, and really, I think added the right weight to this scenario.
Yeah, definitely a very dramatic pause. It left everybody kind of shook when Rue had to get up and walk away to make this decision. And it also left us kind of wondering what's going to happen when Rue comes back. Like, are we going to see some kind of exception made? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen? So Rue does eventually come back. We don't really know how long it's edited out. Could have been a couple minutes, could have been 15 minutes. We're not sure. Rue does come back and does eventually announce that, uh, ooh, there it is. BB is safe and Angina is sashaying away. And that is fucking also kind of wild. Like, I honestly thought BB was taking a second or Rue was taking a second because she was like, I got to send BB home. Like,
Yeah.
they're really putting me on the stage, making me send BB home right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because of the wig fail and everything that happened in the lip sync. But yet again, here we are, the second time in season 1 that we have a drag queen lose their wig or headpiece in a lip sync and lives to tell the tale.
This is resume. This is 100% resume. It didn't
Yeah,
matter. There's just no way you can let BB go home. I'm
yeah,
looking at BB to win this thing. I think Rue's also looking at BB to win this thing. Honestly, I
okay.
there's and I was scared, right? But I understood. I understood the assignment when Rue came out and said Angina was going home. When you look at the entire resume, Angina has had more critiques that they've had issues overcoming than BB.
Mm-hmm.
Has BB, I mean, until this episode, I'm not sure that BB's had a bad critique, period. I'm
No,
not
I
sure
don't
that
think
she's
either of
had
them have been in the bottom.
anything
Like,
constructive, thrown at her, which is
yeah,
crazy. So yeah, I
yeah.
think that this was a resume play. Even though BB lost her wig, it wasn't enough to send her home.
Agree. Ultimately, between these two competitors, I think BB has demonstrated to be the stronger competitor, for all of the reasons we had discussed before. So, was I super shocked to see this? Yes, but only in the sense that I thought like maybe they would make an exception and keep both the queens, and we were going to have like a double elimination next week or something. Because like I
Yeah,
didn't think they would let either one of these two queens go because of how well they've done so far,
honestly.
especially while Rebecca's still in the competition. To keep Rebecca around, to have Rebecca on a win on the same episode that Angina goes home is madness.
I wanted Rue to come out and be like, you know what? Never mind, Rebecca, go the fuck home.
Yeah,
I changed my
yeah,
mind. You're a piece of shit. Go home.
yeah. Come out and be like, you know what? Can we get Rebecca back here on stage? Let's call Rebecca back in.
I would have loved
Yeah,
that. That's what I
very
wanted, but
much
of course
so.
it didn't happen.
It did not. And Angina sachets away, and BB takes a very melancholy walk back to the workroom, coming off of I think both of their first time in the bottom.
Yep, absolutely.
Wild, absolutely wild. So goodbye Angina. Sad to see you go. I think we've covered so much. This episode was laid out in such a way that was really focused on the Maxi Challenge and the critiquing. So we kind of went through a lot of that throughout the episode. But overall, surprised with how the whole thing shook up. Overall, surprised with Angina going home. And I want to leave everybody with our new top 3. And I say top 3 because the show's going to result in a top 3, right? I think the finale is the top 3 queens competing with each other. So, who do you think deserves that finale spot? pretty sure I know already. But let's just give it out for our viewers,
Do you?
both of us.
Do you know
Yeah,
already?
yeah. So
Top
who,
three
in order? Yeah, who are
in
your top
order.
three?
In order. BB, Nina, Chanel. Easy. I'm not going to take time on it. Easy.
Yeah,
BB,
we
Nina,
get it.
Chanel. Mm-hmm.
If you didn't expect that through watching all these episodes so far, what you been watching? You here with us?
You better go back to episode 1 and rewatch.
Yeah, you better
Get an
start
extra
over.
view on that hoe.
Yeah, you better refresh yourself. Yeah, my top three very similar. I swapped Chanel and Nina, but exactly, BB still at the top. BB still a front runner, and still both of us just shocked that Rebecca is still here.
Yeah, why? Why are you still here? That was my prediction for the next episode. I don't know anything about the top three or the way that the finale's formatted, but Rebecca better go the fuck home because I'm so tired of her ass.
Same. I really hope that too. So I guess we'll leave everybody on that final note that both of us hope very strongly that the next episode we watch sees Rebecca go home.
Please.
Yeah, fingers crossed on that one. And I want to say, everybody, if you're still with us, if you've been here, especially since episode 1, we really appreciate it. Hopefully you're enjoying what we're doing. It seems like it if you're hanging around. We will definitely keep chugging along. I'm looking excited. I'm looking and
excited.
am excited.
Yeah, you look very excited.
That's for our radio listeners, so they can get it. Like I'm looking excited, and I am excited for us to get through this season and get through the finale. And yeah, still hoping, still praying that we see Rebecca go home.
Yes, and also like, comment, subscribe, do all those things that make us popular, Mom, because I need to expand outside of our like nuclear family and have other people see this. So share it too. You know what? Share it.
Just with one other person, maybe 2 other people, but get out there, like, comment, share, subscribe, all the things. Click the bell so you know when we add a new episode, all that good stuff.
Yes.
All that good stuff. And as always, we appreciate you. Stay fierce, and we'll see you next week.